مرتي وبنتي.
تصرف نطران تبحث عنه
امبارح أنا كنت معهم، فيني جيت إيه.
أنا هلا عندي أخت متوفية، عندي وحدة مفقودة، عندي 3 أطفال.
نحن ما رح نسكت عن ودائعنا، لو بدها نحرق البلد.
أنا ما بقبل حدا يسرقني، بدهم يحبسوني، بدهم يقتلوني، بدهم يعملوا. اشتغلت وتعبت لمدة 20 و25 سنة ومثل كل الناس الموجودة هون والعسكر المتقاعد وغيره يشتغلوا ليجي قرطة حرامية تسرق لهم هالمصاري.
إلنا 5 أيام ما شفنا الكهرباء وكل شيء عم نطبخه عم نكبه، ما عم نخلي شيء، حتى أكل ما عم نجيب على البيت.
Always something happening in Lebanon. There's always something to add. So it is actually something about the subject of the video, and I thought I should talk about that too. So this is going to be about the subject of how miserable people are in Lebanon. So 2 days ago, I believe 3 days ago, people were trying to escape Lebanon from the sea. And of course it's illegal. They were trying, they got all their children, their families, really young kids in this boat, and it was really small boat that barely fit 10 people. There were 60 people in that boat. It's like a very small boat. It's not fit for that kind of stuff. And there were 60 people. They were trying to escape Lebanon because they prefer risking their lives over living in Lebanon and staying in Lebanon. Sadly, that boat sunk, and I believe a good chunk of people are missing. Among them, children, barely 10 years old, I think. Moms, they were all in that boat, and the boat sunk. That boat couldn't make it with that many people, right? It was a really small boat, and there were 60 people on it, and people preferred risking their lives to continuing living in Lebanon. In that poverty, they thought risking their children's lives was better than making them continue in Lebanon. So imagine the desperation and how miserable they are to make such a risky move. Also, second part of what happened recently, the last week, the government wanted to pass a law that made stealing from your bank account legal. So basically, they made a law if anyone that had more than $100,000 in the bank, it's basically all gone. You can't reach it anymore. It's stolen. You can't even put your hands on it. It's just gone, disappeared. Imagine you had more than 100,000 and it's all gone. All your life savings is officially and legally gone. They want to make it official. They want to make it legal. So, what they stole already can be legal, so no one can get them to court for that and ask them about the money because they want to make it legal. So that's the latest attempt of our government making stealing legal. Imagine, it's called, what did they call it? Capital control. It's basically stealing legal, make stealing legal. That's what it should be called. So imagine in your country, what you had in your bank, the government stole. You can't even say anything about it because they want to make it legal that they stole from you and they stole from the banks. If you want to support my channel, because I'm still not getting any money out of that still, you can go ahead and support. my channel through Patreon. I have my Patreon link down, just putting it out there. Okay, so in this video I'm going to talk about how Lebanon has been ranked almost the last as like an unhappy country. No surprise, right? With all the problems and all the economy trouble and the unsafety and the corruption, it makes sense that Lebanon is almost the last. But in this video I'm gonna talk more about this. Lebanon was almost the last. The last one was Afghanistan. Also not surprising, they've been dealing with a lot of problems themselves as well. And there comes Lebanon right before it. And there's before that as well 3 African countries. It's kind of sad that we find a lot of African countries in that rank as well. I don't feel like for Lebanon there's going to be a lot of change, but I hope for other countries at some point they will go up the ladder too. The happiest country is Finland, and the others were Iceland, for example, Switzerland, Denmark. Like you notice, they're all European countries. How they measure happiness, they measure 4 or 5 elements. They measure the money, if people have money or stuff like that. They measure the safety in the country. They measure the life expectancy. They measure freedom to make life choices. I feel like I'm like all cat hair. I'm sorry. They measure freedom to make life choices. Of course, having freedom is a big part of happiness. They measure generosity of population. It's also, I mean, being generous to each other, I guess. And the corruption level. I think that's the most important one, at least in Lebanon. Depression comes from stress, anxiety, of course. It comes with not enjoying life anymore. That's how depression is, right? I think in European countries, they don't say that if you're poor, you're sad. They don't relate the two. They consider like poverty is not part of sadness, really. At least not like all of them, but a big chunk, they don't relate the two. But for a lot of really poor countries, we relate the two. A lot of our problems would be solved with money. Unfortunately, it shouldn't be the case, but that's how bad it is in many countries. That's how it is. Like, for a lot of people, just having a bit of money can solve all their issues, can solve their depression, can solve their anxiety, their stress. So unfortunately, we have to live now in this type of situation that we need just a bit of money to survive, to be happy. And if you go to Europe, for example, they don't relate the two. They think happiness comes from maybe other things other than money. I think because they don't have that deep of problems with money. Money is not like death or life situation for them. Like, at least they have money, they have food to eat, they have a place to stay in. They don't have to worry about that because the government like give them support in those things if they find themselves not able to pay for basic needs. I think in many, not all, many European countries, they have the government support. And they talk about happiness. Europeans, not all of them, like many countries, when they talk about happiness, they don't see money in their field of vision. It's about other things, about maybe family, about like doing what you like to do. Of course, those things also are like a big part, but for many poor countries, money is the biggest issue. So I'm going to talk about those elements that we talked about, how they rank happiness in Lebanon, and how we like in almost each of them, and that's why I think we're almost in the last spot. Let's begin with money. We all know our currency has been dropping. It dropped so much the last 2 years. For example, like $1 equaled 1,500 lira. Now it equals to, I mean, it just depends on the day, but it's almost between 25 and 30-ish. Sometimes maybe like 22. So it's between 22,000 and 30,000 lira. So it dropped a lot. Like, it's not, the lira there, the Lebanese lira is not worth anything anymore. So people are still getting paid according to before. So if someone was getting paid, for example, monthly 2 million lira, they're still getting paid 2 million lira. But what's different that everything has gotten way more expensive. So every product, even if you have to make a salad, you have to put almost 200,000 lira for just a salad. So imagine you just have a budget of 1 million or 2 million lira a month. Just to have a salad for one day, you have to pay 200,000 lira. So basically, you barely don't have any money to pay for your food, let alone for other stuff like gas, like power. Power now there is super expensive because the government doesn't give us any really power, maybe 1 or 2 hours a day. They have to find other solutions to get power, and those solutions are very expensive. They get like extra generator maybe, or subscribe to other things. Those really are expensive. So we're talking about here like 2 million lira a month. So that's that's the whole income for some people, just putting it on power. So a lot of people do not have power because they can't afford subscribing to other solutions, or having an extra generator at home. That also really costs a lot. If they want an extra generator, they have to pay it in dollars, because most of generators, they come from outside of the country. Not most, maybe all. So I have to pay in dollars, and no one can afford any generator in dollars. We paid hours before in Lebanon, before it skyrocketed, like before everything skyrocketed. And with that, our generator was not really good quality, and it crashed in like few months. The issue is huge. We're talking about people here that they can't have enough money to feed themselves. They don't have enough money to pay the rent. They have the stress of, maybe I'm gonna be homeless in a few days because I can't pay the rent. They have the issue of not having enough money to buy medicine, or just surviving. I mean, it's all linked to money. Also, water needs a lot of money, because in many houses or apartments, there's no water. The government doesn't really give us access to water that much anymore. And I remember we had to like get water other ways, and it can be costly. We're talking here like 1 million or 2 million a month. I'm not sure. Sometimes we used to get water from the government, sometimes not, just depending on the day. But I think nowadays it's been way worse. So it's basically not having enough money to even take a shower. Even your personal hygiene is very affected. If you know about depression, like people usually, when someone is depressed, even their personal hygiene is not important anymore. I think in Lebanon it goes in the other direction. People, it's not like people are depressed that's why they're not taking a shower. It's like they're not taking a shower, they don't have enough money, they don't have power, so everything leads to depression. It's the other way around. So also with the safety is a huge issue also in Lebanon. Like 2 years ago, is it, in August 2020, there was almost a huge explosion. No explosion, I would say a nuke. I'm not sure, like I wasn't there for it, but a lot of people, even the ones that didn't get affected or didn't get injured in that explosion, they're scared. It is a scary situation to be part of a historical nuke or a historical explosion. I've seen so many people have now like PTSD, they need mental health support, and also they don't have enough money to even have mental health support, and they don't have enough money to have therapy. Also with not having enough money, people maybe are robbing each other, so also that comes with the safety issue. You never know when you're gonna experience an explosion. You never know when a huge problem is gonna happen in front of you. You never know when you're gonna get stabbed. Someone wants to steal something from you. Like my relative, he was stabbed because someone wanted to steal his phone. We personally been robbed before in Lebanon a few months ago. We wanted to store some gas for the car because it was non-existent. I still think there's still a huge problem with gas. And some people stored gas at the time, and we wanted gas for the next week because we had so many things to do, and gas is super expensive now there. I don't know, we paid 2-3 gallons of gas, but we were robbed. Even a lot of people can't even use their cars. Like a lot of times, like we would be, let's have a car ride just to have fun, to have a breather. You can't even do that anymore. Having a breather is not really an option anymore for a lot of people because gas is now super expensive. Gas is super expensive, and that if you find it, you might not even find gas to fill up your car, or like barely any gas to fill up maybe 20% of your car. Depends how big is your car too. It can be very expensive for a lot of people that have big cars. The crisis started like 3 years ago. Some people had big cars from the start, and they can't even fill it up, right? Big cars use a lot of gas very quickly, so they can't even use their cars anymore unless you have a super tiny car. Safety is also a big issue. People are always scared, they have PTSD. Also, it causes anxiety and stress to always be scared for your safety. A lot of people don't even come out at night anymore, like around after maybe 9, 10, some people are scared to come out and maybe have fun, have a nice Friday night. You can even can do that. Also with the life expectancy, it's been declining, of course. When people don't have enough money, they don't have enough money to heal themselves, to treat themselves, to get medicine, to go to hospitals. Hospitals are very expensive sometimes, and if you go to a cheap hospital, they might not have good equipment or good doctors and so on and so forth. Many cancer patients, they don't have enough money to get medicine for their cancer, so they just deal with it, and a lot of people died because of that. I'm gonna give you an example. It's not as serious, of course I didn't have cancer, it's not as serious, but I'm gonna give you a bit of example what happened to me there. So I've told this before, I take birth control. Of course, first of all, I have very it's not regular, it's very irregular period, and also it's very painful when I have it. I can't even move. Sometimes I feel like I'm gonna pass out. It is that bad when I have it. So taking birth control really helped me subside the pain. That's why I started taking birth control. And when I don't take it, it also messes up with a lot of things. I also started taking it because I had cyst. It was kind of a bit of a dangerous situation. That's why I take it also. So I kind of need it, right? I need the birth control. So I had no idea I was going to stay more than 2-3 months in Lebanon. So I had like 2-3 packets of birth control with me. When I got there, I knew that I was gonna stay way more than 2-3 months. I ended up staying 9 months there, almost 9 months. I'm gonna tell you why later I say that much. But I knew that I needed birth control, right? I started searching for birth control there. We couldn't find any birth control. It was just not existent. With not just birth control, there was so many medicine that we couldn't find. I did a video about how we couldn't find anything in Lebanon. If you want to watch it, I'm gonna put it in the link down below too if you're interested in that. But we couldn't find birth control no matter where we looked. We looked in maybe 10-15 pharmacies. We couldn't just find any birth control. After 2 months of search, and it started getting worse with me, the pain and everything, we found one. We were so happy. I was ecstatic, but it was so expensive at the time, so we got 1 or 2, I think 1 pack or 2 pack, I'm not sure. I remember it was super expensive. It was before, I think it was 10,000 lira or 20,000 lira. We got it for 150,000 or something for 1 pack. It was crazy expensive. Jump in prices. So I got 1 or 2. I was like, it's fine. Maybe next month they'll drop. The prices will drop. So I got those 2. And then side effects started happening with me after 2 weeks. After a week I was fine. The second week I started having some serious side effects. It wasn't just dizziness or really like basic side effects. It was really bad. I'm not gonna go into details because some things were a bit personal, but it was really bad side effects. After 3 weeks or a month, I decided to stop it. I was like, okay, this is not good for me. And I stopped it. Unfortunately, many side effects didn't go. I still suffer from a lot of side effects. I think that the pack was expired, even though I saw the expiration date. It was not expired, but I've heard some people would stick on the expiration date, so they would sell them. They would stick like a new expiration date. I don't know. There was something really bad in that medicine. Whatever they were selling, it wasn't good. So I unfortunately, I still suffer from those side effects. I'm still not 100% great. And those side effects also cause me to have a UTI. If you don't know what a UTI is, it's urinary infection, tract infection. It's just a urinary infection. It is simple. It's not something dangerous if you cure it, right? But I didn't notice I had a UTI till after like months. After taking that pill, those birth control pills, and apparently it was very spread. And after I told my brother the symptoms, he really got worried. He gave me the antibiotic really quickly. Usually when you take antibiotic for it, you should be better after 3 days. For me, I had to take it for 2 weeks because the UTI was very spread. So everything, all the side effects that I had was caused by those birth control. Like at some point I was really in a dark place because I had so many side effects, and it got pretty bad at some point that it was really mentally draining for me. So imagine for other people there, you have cancer and then you take maybe you can't afford one pack, and then you take it and you find out it's not good, and it makes your disease even worse. Imagine that. Not everyone, but a lot of people are dying from lack of medicine. Like my dad also died because of COVID. I think, in my opinion, it could have been very, something could have happened if we had the vaccines earlier. He could have lived, but our country decided not to get it as fast as possible. They were pretty late getting it, and a lot of people died because they didn't get the vaccines on time. So fourth element is freedom to make life choices. Yes, people can't make any life choices. People are stuck in Lebanon. They can't even afford to go. They can't even afford to have a visa. I mean, can be costly. People, even if they can afford it, a lot of countries are turning down Lebanese people. They don't want them there. Not just Lebanese people, Arabs in general. And I think with the Ukrainian crisis now, they say they have enough refugees, they don't want anyone anymore. So it's even worse for us. We are turned down a lot. People are stuck in Lebanon. They can't even go anywhere. They can't even go out for a car ride. So they're pretty stuck at home. I wouldn't say they have any life choices. Everything is controlled. That goes with also corruption that I'm going to talk about later. Also, if you talk against politicians, you're going to be in jail. A lot of times you're going to be in jail, or someone's going to attack you. So no, you're not free in your choices. There's no freedom there. Also, generosity of population. I think that's the only good thing that we kind of have. Some people are still like not happy. They act happy, or they're generous. They like to socialize, to give, to get and give. They're not really closed like many other people. But with the situation, some people maybe are made to steal now, and maybe with depression, anxiety, it can affect your mood. Maybe they're not as happy anymore. Of course, they're not happy. They're not as smiley anymore. They're not as generous anymore, because a lot of people are depressed now. But I think with everything, you still can see people smiling at you, people giving you stuff. They feel for each other. I think with all that, I still think there are still people there that feel for each other. They give each other things. They help each other. They know the situation and they try to help each other. I think that's what's good about Lebanon, even though there are few robberies happening, but I think if it was in another country, it would have been way worse. But I think in Lebanon, we still care for each other and still love each other with everything going on. Like, I would go in the neighborhood and talk to people. They're always so smiley and helping you, even though they might be depressed on the inside. They still try to, have a smile on their faces, take light of the situation, even though they're not happy, even though they're anxious. I think some people would consider that a bit toxic, that they brush their problems to the side, or not talk about their problems, not show their feelings. But I think also it can be a big empowerment in that, because people try to overcome their problems with positivity. So I think it really is a good thing in many ways. But I still think many people need to go to therapy there. A lot of people don't believe in therapy. Even if they can afford it, I don't think a lot of people would go to therapy. They don't believe in it. The last one, corruption. I think that's what's causing everything to crash and burn. We wouldn't be in that situation if there was not corruption. Politicians, I've talked about this in many videos. Politicians been robbing the country, been stealing people's money, been doing so many bad things to people. They're robbing even the money that they had in the bank. So if you had your money in the bank, you're probably fucked. I mean, my dad had all his money in the bank and we can't even get access to it at all. And it's quite a lot of money. We can't, it's gone. I think in Lebanon we had this problem since so many years. We've had the same people in the government for so many years, and they've been just stealing and stealing and stealing. And the last few years we've really been feeling that. It's like, you know, when someone been poking you for so many times and at the end you just feel it, it becomes really hurtful. I think that's how it is now. They've been stealing bit and bit and bit and bit, and at the end you're just like, fuck it, like now I don't have any money anymore. And the problem with our people, there's still people that support the politicians, and I think that's our main problem, that there are still supporters out there. And I don't think the country's gonna get better if we still have supporters. It's like I said, it's in many ways people's fault for their situation. And I feel so bad for the people that want to have it changed. They want to have new politicians. I feel so bad for them. They have to go through this because of other people that don't want to change their minds. They're brainwashed, basically. You can't really do anything. When you talk to a brainwashed person, no matter what you tell them, they're not going to change their minds. I've talked to so many of them before. No matter what you say, they're brainwashed. You can't change a brainwashed person. Literally, you have to unbrainwash them. And that needs a lot of work and a lot of time. I think for a country to be happy, the government is the most important thing. And if the government is doing a bad job, the country is doomed. If you go to see on the bottom unhappy countries, you're gonna see that the government is to blame most of the times. It's so sad that I've been getting so many news of people dying around me, and the family specifically. We had someone in the family, she had kidney problems. She needed to go take care of that in the hospital every 3 days. And that's very costly. We tried to help her as much as we could in Lebanon when I was there, and then we left, we traveled, and then last week I heard that she passed away. I'm pretty sure she passed away because she couldn't afford going to the hospital anymore. Crazy, like you spend your whole life with no one dying in your family, and all of a sudden you see everyone just passing away in front of your eyes. And a lot of the times, actually, 3 deaths out of 4 in my family were caused by the country, by how bad it is there. So, including my own dad. So yeah, it hurts that, you know, it could have been avoidable. If they were living in another country, they would have been alive now. But I know it's no use saying it could have been or it would have been, or I don't want to be in that kind of mindset anymore. I'm sorry if you guys see if I have like a red eye. I don't know if it's showing, but I've seen it. I think because I'm kind of dehydrated. Well, it's Ramadan and we're fasting. I don't think I'm drinking enough water, plus I'm working hours on the computer now. It's like non-stop. I think it's 15 hours a day I'm working on the computer, and I'm barely getting sleep. I'm getting like 4 or 5 hours of sleep a day. I'm trying to work a lot, yeah, trying to get that money somehow. Also, again, if you want to support me on Patreon, if you want to support this channel, go ahead and go on Patreon and support this channel. If you like those kind of videos, please subscribe. If you like this video, please like it, thumbs up, and please tell me what you guys want to see more of. It really helps me trying to know what to film next time. Thank you for supporting me, at least watching my channel. It makes me happy, someone watching my videos. So yeah, thank you for watching, and well, my cat is gone now. well, she should have said bye before going. Thank you for watching, and I'll see you in the next video. Bye bye.